Good afternoon. Welcome to our Good Friday prayer service. Good Friday is the day when we commemorate Jesus' crucifixion and death. It is the day when the Christ candle at the center of our Lenten wreath dies with Jesus on the cross. In a moment, we will hear a reading of Luke's account of the crucifixion. We will sing together, and then we will take some time to participate in a practice of lament and resistance. After this service, we'll offer the invitation to take part in a group walk of our West Salem Stations of the Cross around the neighborhood. But for now, join us as we dare to draw close to the shadows into which Jesus entered fully for our sake.
A reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, verses 32 to 49. 2 other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you're the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was a written notice above him, which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God," he said, "since you're under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we're getting what our deeds deserve, but this man has done nothing wrong." And then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m, for the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And he said this, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, "Surely this was a righteous man." When all the people who had gathered to witness this saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. But all those who knew him, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching these things.
I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. All along my pilgrim journey, Lord, I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. All along my pilgrim journey, Lord, I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus. I want Jesus to walk with Our resources from a sanctified art for this Lenten season offer this reflection for Good Friday. As Jesus dies on the cross, one thief resists him and the other accepts him as Messiah. Jesus resists the empire but accepts his fate. We also are called to resist systems of power and oppression, and yet we ultimately have to accept that Jesus dies, and one day we will too. We have to discern what to accept as given and what to resist. What is God's will and what is the result of our own unquestioned systems. Our Lenten theme this year has been everything in between, meeting God in the midst of extremes. And as this theme has demonstrated over and over again, no human experience is ever just one thing. The faithful approach to a binary is rarely to choose one extreme or another. More often, the truth lies between and beyond, not in a way that compromises principles with a lukewarm, moderate response, but in a way that wrestles honestly with the reality of a broken world. Today, on this Good Friday, we hold up the binary of acceptance and resistance. I think of the Serenity Prayer, which will probably be prayed by a number of people beneath our feet in just a moment. God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sometimes the way we talk about acceptance makes it sound like a passive act, and there's a sense in which it can be that. I've seen a sign a couple times at protests that says, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change, I am changing the things I cannot accept. This is a powerful reminder that we cannot just swallow the unacceptable, that we have power and capacity and that lines must be drawn. And at the same time, we cannot change or face what we do not accept as real. We must accept our diagnosis if we are to receive treatment or make plans for our family and loved ones. We must accept the reality of anti-Blackness if we are to be about the work of dismantling white supremacy. We must accept that our trans child is who they say they are if we are to love them and to speak out against policies that cause them harm. We must accept that our leadership is willfully ignoring the 14th Amendment and a conservative Supreme Court's 9-0 decision about a wrongful deportation if we are to resist the increasingly blatant fascism on display in America. And Jesus shows us too how radical acceptance can itself be a form of resistance. Executed at the hands of the Roman Empire, he publicly reveals the fear, hypocrisy, and cruelty that drives all systems of domination. Even the centurion charged with guarding his cross that he died on could not deny the incredible power in this moment of seeming weakness. By taking on the fullness of humanity, even to the point of death, Jesus exercises the most profound solidarity possible. On the cross, even before the resurrection, Jesus breaks the binary of acceptance and resistance. We'll be using our tent pole cross to create of paper help to accept or something you want God's help to resist. We also, you'll see, have newspaper clippings of current events. You might choose these as things that you want to accept or resist. And then we'll invite you to bring those to the tent pole cross. And what we're going to do is we're going to place the things we want to accept on the horizontal bar and the things we want to resist on the vertical bar. And I will be the one to use the step stool. And yes, we won't have too many people climbing that thing if we can get the top of the cross. And one thing I want to invite you to do, because it does seem like this practice is reinforcing the binary we just talked about breaking, right? You can also tear one of those pieces of paper you've written something on. You can tear one of these news articles. If there is something that you maybe have been denial in about how bad things are getting, whether out in the world or in your own life, something that you know you need to accept in order to resist and to change it. You might tear that article or that piece of paper down the middle, place one half on the horizontal bar of acceptance and one on the vertical bar of resistance. And another offering that goes beyond the symbolic is that we have envelopes down here on this other table. They are stamped and addressed to they're stamped. I forgot. I didn't do the addresses for you. But the idea is that you can take these envelopes that have stamps on them. We've got a QR code that will allow you to look up your representatives' addresses, because while we all share senators, we have different congressional districts in our area. And there's also paper. They're just cut into strips of paper that should fit into an envelope. And you can write just a brief note asking them to resist on our behalf in government. We have some ideas about issues that you might write our representatives about on one of these placards up here. And you're welcome to do that during the service. We're just going to take a little bit of time to engage in these practices of lament. But also, if you need to take that home and think about it, you're welcome to do that as well. So we invite you now. Let's join together in engaging in this practice of lament, of acceptance, and resistance. You can come forward as you feel led to engage with these ways of lamenting and resisting. If you're still writing, that's okay. You can continue doing that. But I want to issue a couple of invitations. So right after this, if you would like to join in the group walk of the West Salem Stations of the Cross, just meet us right out front at the church steps, and we'll do that in just a moment. I love when we have services and hear the joy of the recovery community beneath us. I think it's such a wonderful thing. That walk is just over a mile through the neighborhood. We have had folks drive along with us before, so if you'd rather do that, that's also fine, but we invite you to participate in that. We'll stop at various stations and share the stories of each of the traditional stations of the cross, alongside reflections on sites of suffering and oppression in our world. Also, this afternoon at 5:30, we're going to invite you to come, if you're able, to church. So there is something happening today called Let Freedom Ring, and churches all across the country have been invited to ring their church bells if they have them. This is the 250th anniversary of when the Old North Church rang its bells as Paul Revere began his ride and the Revolution for Freedom began. So this is a statement for pro-democracy kind of moment for churches to stand up in this way. We do not have church bells, but we are going to find ways to play recorded bells. And if you happen to have a cowbell or something at home, you are welcome to bring that. So 5:30, just out in front of the church, just come join us if you are able. We're going to close our time with a poem by Padre Tuoma.
The Facts of Life by Padre Tuoma. The facts of life: that you were born and you will die, that you will sometimes love enough and sometimes not, that you will lie, if only to yourself, that you will get tired, that you will learn most from the situations you did not choose, that there will be some things that move you more than you can say, that you will live, that you must be loved, that you will avoid questions most urgently in need of your attention, that you began as the fusion of a sperm and an egg of two people who once were strangers and may well still be, that life isn't fair, that life is sometimes good and sometimes better than good, that life is often not so good, that life is real, and if you can survive it, well, survive it well, with love and art and meaning given where meaning's scarce, that you will learn to live with regret, that you will learn to live with respect, that the structures that constrict you may not be permanently constraining, that you will probably be okay, that you must accept change before you die, but you will die anyway. So you might as well live, and you might as well love. You might as well love. You might as well love.